Ladies and gentlemen, this particular story bothers me in a little bit of a different way because we recently had reported on a story that an entire family of a wife and 3 children, 4 human beings, 4 people were killed by a drunk driver in a place called Spring, Texas. And if you guys are not familiar with Spring, Texas, it's just a little bit, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's just a little bit north of Houston, Texas. And I know her husband, who now has 2 children left, is devastated for losing the love of his life and losing his children. I can't imagine what kind of stress that man is under. To make matters worse, the reason why I brought that story up, if you guys have not seen it, you can always go back and comment and watch our other videos. The reason that I bring that up is because this story is related, literally and figuratively. The girl that you see on my screen, that little girl is actually a relative of that family in that story. How about that? In the same week. I mean, I don't know if you call it bad luck. I don't know if you call it just incredibly unlucky. I don't really know how you describe it, but I definitely want to send my condolences to the family because this is probably worse than anything anybody could even think up, okay? But what makes this more egregious is how this little girl died. Y'all always know there's a huge caveat with these stories. Hopefully you guys are ready to listen with an open mind and an open heart. I'm going to say some things that are not going to sit well with your sensibilities. So if you cannot handle that, I understand. If you guys need to exit the video, hit that top right button. This is not the news station. I'm here to give my commentary, and everybody here should want to hear what my thoughts and opinions are of the news, okay? That 6-year-old girl that y'all saw on my screen out of Texas was fatally shot by an adult male during an argument over spilled water, of all things. Spilled water. W-A-T-E-R. This little girl is dead over spilled water, and yes, you guys heard that correctly. Spilled water. Can y'all believe that? Like, it's like, we talk about so many different stories. We've seen so many different tragedies over the past 3 years that we've been doing this. And it's just like you think that petty just can't get any more petty. And then you get a story like this. And you look at that little girl's face and you ask yourself, what could that baby have done to make any human being, any caretaker, any babysitter, any human being that would be mad at a face like that? Why? There is no excuse for it, nor will I create an excuse for it. I will never allow something like mental illness to be an excuse for murder. A lot of people want to say mental illness, mental illness. It gets people shorter sentences. It gets people out of jail. In some cases, it gets people completely out of trouble and they're not held accountable. So here's my thing. I don't mind that people do have issues that they're trying to deal with. That's one thing. But what I will never, ever tolerate is if you present a danger to your children, then you should not be a parent. That's pretty simple to me. Why is that so trivial for so many people? I'm going to say it again. If you present any type of danger to your children or any children that you are taking care of, if you present a danger, you should not be allowed to be a caretaker. Do you guys know that still to this day, I have people emailing me talking about, well, you know, because of such and such and such. I don't really give a damn, to be quite honest. I'm getting sick of it, and I will not continue to allow people to make excuses for anything like this, okay? Let's move on. The little girl that you saw on my screen, that angel's name was Laurionne Walker, who was 6 years old, and she was shot multiple times. A 6-year-old girl shot multiple times. That's hard to even read. She was shot multiple times and died at Bayshore Medical Center in Pasadena from her injuries, according to the police. Now, the police department in Pasadena, southeast of Houston, said officers responded to reports of a shooting at an apartment complex around 11:30 a.m. Police said, let me get his face up on the screen. And what a face he has. Let me show y'all this face. Ladies and gentlemen, this is under normal lighting conditions. This man literally looks like he crawled out of a oil hole. This man looks like he was on an episode of Kill Bill and he was buried 8 feet underground, 2 feet extra, and had to crawl out of there like Beatrice Kiddo. I can't remember her name. I don't remember what they call her in the damn movie. But nonetheless, that's the guy who did this. His name is Raymond Means, M-E-A-N-S. Raymond is spelled R-A-Y-M-E-O-N. I'm sure that's not Raymion. I'm assuming that's probably Raymond. They just want to make it to where his name is unique, right? That is the face of a demon. He looks demonic, does he not? He looks slow as shit. That man looked like he would lose a race to a turtle. Slow in the face. Let me see if I can show y'all a little bit of a lighter picture. That's a little bit lighter. And y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but he looks like he's smiling in that mugshot. Does it not? Let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger. I think I have a better photo. Let me see if I can find it real quick. And if you guys are listening, please do me a favor and click that thumbs up. Please share this stream. Let other people know that we're live. Let me make this bigger. Look at that picture and tell me, does that not look like a smug look on his face? Like he's happy, like he's laughing about it. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like to me. And I did find an old Facebook page of his, but we'll get to that here in a minute. Anyway. Raymond Meeks faces a capital murder charge in connection with the shooting. Means fled the apartment Friday morning, but he was later caught and taken into custody. He remains in jail with no bond. 0 bond. Rightfully so. His connection to Laurionne was not immediately explained by police, but the news station, and shout out to ABC 13 Houston, reported that Means is related to the person who rents the apartment. Now, I know some of y'all are wondering, well, how did this baby even get in that man's possession, especially when he looks like that? I'm sorry, but sometimes you could judge a book by its cover, and when there's a scale of ugly, and you've got kind of halfway ugly to just drop bottom dead, Satan-looking ugly, that man is like on another level of ugly. Y'all look at his face. I don't understand why anybody would feel safe leaving their children around a face that looks like that. That only Satan's wife can love. A capital murder charge has been defined by the Texas Penal Code as an offense under the murder statute and in commission of another crime, including the murder of someone 10 years or younger of age. And y'all know we have those super aggravated child abuse laws in Texas, which are very strong. Shout out to Texas. So hopefully this man will get the ultimate penalty under law. If he is convicted, punishment ranges from life in prison all the way up to the death penalty. And that sounds about right. It was not immediately known whether prosecutors will seek the death penalty in this particular case. Laurionne's grandmother by the name of Erlene House said that she's at a loss for words right now, and my granddaughter was still a baby. She got shot twice in the chest this morning. A neighbor who I showed his picture a minute ago, Mauricio Alvarez, said that Means had knocked on his door to ask him if you have water coming down because the little girl clogged the toilet. This man lost his damn mind over a flooded toilet. An overflow toilet. Let me ask you guys a question. How many of you guys have ever experienced a flooded toilet in your home or your apartment? Or maybe a public bathroom. Have y'all ever seen a flooded toilet before? Have you ever dealt with a flooded toilet before? Has it ever made you want to go grab your gat and shoot a 7-year-old girl in the chest twice? Has it ever made you want to murder somebody? Over a clogged toilet. So when they said spilled water, they were talking about spilled water from a toilet. It overflowed. Shit happens. No pun intended. You just fix it. Why does somebody have to die over that? He said that means left, and he soon had arguments from the he said he heard arguments from the apartment. Later, he went running upstairs, and we heard like 4 to 5 gunshots, and he started running, and we just heard screams. Wow. Laurionne's mother, who was not identified, but that's her right there. Her name, well, actually, she's identified now. Her name is 28-year-old Portia Branch. Or is it? Wait, no. I'm sorry. That's not the mother. Let me retract that. That's wrong. That's actually the mother from the last story that we talked about. My apologies. That's not the mom. So this woman is the relative of that little girl. My apologies. So what they were going to do, let me just tell you the story. Laurionne's mother, who was not identified, told the news station that the girl was left in the care of a relative so that she could attend the funeral of that woman. And that's Portia Branch, 28 years old. She was the woman who her and her 3 children died in a car crash on Sunday because a drunk driver hit them. And that was the same drunk driver that had got pulled over by the police. The police let him go. They didn't realize that he was drunk. He drove off at a high rate of speed and ended up hitting and killing that woman, which also caused her to hit 6 other cars. So in total, it was a 7-car pileup. And that woman's car caught on fire, and they burned and died inside that car. Here's something that's a little strange to me. This little girl right here was dropped off with this relative, and apparently, I don't know if the relative was there or not, but the other dude was there. Why did they have to drop that girl off so that they could go attend the vigil? Because aren't vigils usually kid-friendly, family-friendly, if I'm not mistaken? I know this is a little bit confusing. I'm getting confused my damn self. So Laurionne Walker, the 6-year-old girl, if her mother is related to that family, then that makes the little girl related too. Why could she not just go to the vigil? Am I wrong for asking that question? Why would you drop her off? It seems like that if you got time, and that to me, that's leisure. That's leisure time. If you have leisure time to go to a vigil, not a funeral, but a vigil, then it seems that you would be able to take that little girl. Am I wrong for asking that question? If I am, you can let me know in the chat. That's why we have the live chat. Also, please click the thumbs up if you haven't already done so. It will help draw more people to our channel and let them know that we're live talking about the story of this little girl here. Laurionne's mother was the aunt of those 3 children who died in the car accident in Spring, Texas, meaning that Portia Branch was her sister. So that's Portia Branch's niece, who died because the mom wanted to go to Portia Branch's vigil, but left her daughter in his care. Maybe not directly, but she ended up being left in his care by somebody. The Harris precinct 4 constables alleged that 35-year-old Daniel Canada was drunk with a blood alcohol level of at least 0.15 when he slammed into the family's car, causing it to burst into flames and resulting in a 7-car pileup. Laurionne's uncle, Damien House, who was the father of the 3 children who died in the car crash, said, "All I can say to my sister is I'm here for her. I can imagine what she's going through because we're already going through the exact same thing." And he's absolutely right. And I just don't understand how unlucky one family can be. Let me give you guys the fair usage and let me let you listen to the news videos. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. All right, let's get it. Matter of fact, real quick. All right, here we go. Let's get it.
Tonight, 2 tragedies involving children, incidents that happen days apart and many miles apart. But now we are learning a deadly crash and deadly shooting have a heartbreaking connection.
We do have team coverage on this tonight, starting with our Roseanne Aragon, who's live in Pasadena, where a 6-year-old little girl was shot and killed today. Roseanne?
It is no doubt a very devastating situation for the entire family. Pasadena police say it happened just behind me here in the 3600 block of Shaver Street. Neighbors tell me just minutes before the shooting, the family member who shot the girl knocked on their door. A heartbroken family.
I done lost words right now. I'm still choked up right now.
Friday morning, a shooting left her 6-year-old granddaughter, Laurionne Walker, dead.
My granddaughter with your baby, they got shot twice in the chest this morning.
Pasadena police say it was a male family member who shot the girl over spilled water. Downstairs neighbor Mauricio Alvarez says they saw that family member often, and minutes before the shooting, he actually knocked on their door.
So this is the neighbor. He's getting ready to explain what he saw, okay? Here we go.
He knocked on the door. He was like, "Oh, can you check if you don't have waters coming down because the little girl has clogged the toilet."
He left. 10 minutes later, neighbors heard
like a group upstairs that were yelling.
He was banging on the doors, and one of the women had a knife. And they were telling him, "Get out of here, get out of here."
But then Alvarez says the family member came back.
He went running upstairs and we heard like 4 or 5 shots, like bam, bam, bam. And he started running and we started hearing like screams.
Bullet casings fell.
We just started calling the cops so we can help them out.
The 6-year-old was rushed to Bayshore Hospital. Her mother heartbroken. Her brother, who lost his children in an unrelated crash Sunday, sending comfort.
All I can say to my sister, I'm here for her. I'm a supporter. And I can imagine her pain because we both going through the same pain.
And it just so happens that the man you just heard from, the uncle of the 6-year-old girl, happens to be the father of the children that died in a fiery crash on Sunday in Spring. This family is asking for prayers. Reporting live from Pasadena, Roseanne Aragon, KPRC 2 News.
Breaking news in Pasadena. A 6-year-old girl is dead after police say she was shot multiple times over spilled water. This happened.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are listening to the sound of my voice, over a clogged toilet, we're not talking about spanking a child, which I am totally against. I've been trying to tell you guys for the longest, you shouldn't be spanking your children at all. If you're spanking your children, then you're just being a lazy ass parent. We're not even talking about spanking a child. Like, most people will probably turn their, their eyebrows up really high like this if you would hear that somebody would be physically trying to discipline your children if you drop them off to be babysat just for a little bit amount of time, right? Let alone that. We don't spank. You grab a gun and shoot her? Why does she need to die for that? And what do y'all want to bet? That dude probably didn't have a job, probably is a thug, probably has a criminal record. And living off of somebody else. Absolutely ridiculous.
And at an apartment complex on Shaver Street and Alan Genoa Road. KPRC2's Bill Barajas is live with the very latest in this investigation. Bill?
Just to hear these things happening, like, especially here. I mean, you always hear stuff happening here, shootings and everything, but a 6-year-old?
I'm assuming that when the mother dropped her kid off, she dropped the kid off with some woman that was living there, which they didn't specify. I don't know if they specified who it was. Let me see. Not exactly sure. Was left in the care of a relative. So I'm assuming it was a female relative, which I'll show y'all there here in a minute, because when they showed the apartment on video, there was a bunch of women up there. So I'm assuming that the relative was a woman, because I'm assuming that they're not going to leave that baby in the care of that dude. Maybe the mother didn't know. But let me say this. I bet you that dude wasn't supposed to be around kids. What do y'all want to bet? I could almost guarantee you he should not have been around children. Probably shouldn't have been living in that apartment. So the fact that this dude murdered that little girl and probably should not have been there, I think that the woman who was given the possession of that child should also be investigated. Maybe not arrested, but they should definitely do some investigation and find out what she knew about this dude and about his criminal history, okay? I'm not saying that he has a criminal history. He just has the face of a criminal, of somebody who ain't shaved in the past 3.5 years, looking like crap, probably don't have a job. I'm just saying, how are you able to live at all as a grown adult and you don't work? You don't do anything to put food on the table, clothes on anybody's back, take care of any children, pay any bills, not a law-abiding citizen. You don't pay taxes. You understand where I'm coming from? Remember, I don't call him a thug because of his skin color. I call him a thug because of his actions. Thug is not a color. It's an action.
That just, it tugs at my heart, man. I can't. I feel bad for the mom. Over some spilled water. Makes no sense.
And you heard from neighbors, their residents here at this apartment complex off of Shaver in Pasadena. Again, police have cleared the scene here just moments ago, but there's still lots of questions surrounding what happened here. Pasadena police saying a 6-year-old girl possibly losing her life, possibly over spilled water. They have again cleared the scene. You can see family members have been allowed to go back in to the apartment. We saw them cleaning the apartment earlier. They are now just gathered outside talking. This happened at around 11:30 this morning here in Pasadena at an apartment complex off of Shaver, again in the Pasadena area. The details again still coming in, but again what we know right now is that it's...
Oh, did y'all see that? Maybe they didn't know they were on camera. Gross. Y'all see those women right there? I'm not sure who they are. I don't know if they live there, but watch this again. That is disgusting. You'd have to know that you're on camera. Oh my. Let me see. I'm a blow this up and make this bigger so y'all can see.
Breaking news in Pasadena, a 6-year-old.
So y'all can see what I just saw. That was disgusting. I know some of y'all are going to be mad about this. But you might not have been able to see it, so I'm going to make it bigger.
Breaking news.
You always hear stuff happen
surrounding over spilled water. They have again cleared the scene. You can see family members have been allowed to go back in to the apartment. We saw them cleaning the apartment earlier. They are now
right here. I want y'all to take a look at what comes out of this door. I'm sorry to be nasty, but look at this. Gross, man.
Just gathered outside talking. This happened at around 11:30 this morning here in Pasadena at an apartment complex off.
One comes out with her belly hanging over her belly. You see that when she opened the door, she definitely didn't. She must not have known the camera was like right there. That's definitely one of those moments where you're just like, damn girl, y'all didn't tell me the camera was right there. Her belly hanging over her belly. She a big girl, man.
A shaver.
Oh, gross.
Again, in the Pasadena area, they're now just gathered outside talking. This happened at around 11:30 this morning here in Pasadena at an apartment complex off a shaver. Again, in the Pasadena.
What if somebody was standing down there? Oh my goodness, that is disgusting. And then this woman, I'm sorry, she a big girl. I don't mean no disrespect, but when you come out with your belly hanging over your belly, guys, we just got to be comical sometimes. These stories are really sad, and I'm not trying to make a mockery of it. Sometimes we have to laugh to keep from crying. That was gross.
Area. The details, again, still coming in. But again, what we know right now is that a 6-year-old was shot, appears multiple times, or at least multiple shots were fired by a relative after some sort of argument over spilled water. It's unclear what the relationship is.
She did it again. Oh.
Here's multiple times, or at least multiple shots were fired by a relative after some sort of argument over spilled water. It's unclear what the relationship is between that relative and that young girl. The young girl was rushed to the hospital but died a short time later. Police telling us her death was tough on responding officers who attempted to perform CPR. It's also taking a toll on those who live in this complex. As far as the suspect.
Disgusting.
Talking. This happened at around 11:30 this morning here in Pasadena at an apartment complex off a shaver. Again, in the Pasadena area. The details, again, still coming in. But again, what we know right now is that a 6-year-old.
I wonder which one of them women was dating that dude. Let me pull his picture back up if I can. Which one of those women up there do y'all believe was dating this man? What y'all want to bet? I'm not really so sure. I don't know if it's the big girl coming out with her stomach hanging out or the one who's spitting on top of other people down there at the bottom. I don't know. I don't know.
Was shot, appears multiple times, or at least multiple shots were fired by a relative after some sort of argument over spilled water. It's unclear what the relationship is between that relative and that young girl. The young girl was rushed to the hospital but died a short time later. Police telling us her death.
And I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm sorry, I know we're making a joke out of this, but them news people are terrible people. They zoomed all up in the house. The people did not know that y'all was going to be just filming them like that. Still, anyway, let's move on, man. Let's move on.
It's a tragic moment versus my family, well, my kids and my wife. Now it's my niece. Like, I don't understand it.
A family broken and devastated by 2 tragedies in less than a week.
Devastating, sad, hurt, all like we feel empty, numb.
This is 6-year-old Laurionne Walker. Her mother tells me she dropped off Laurionne at a friend's place while her family was getting ready to go to a vigil in Spring. Pasadena police say there was an argument over spilled water, and the suspect opened fire, hitting Laurionne multiple times. She was taken to the hospital where she later died. The suspect took off, but was later caught and arrested.
Our officers are human beings, so seeing a child who was shot is very difficult for them. They tried everything they could to try to save the child.
Laurionne's family waiting outside the hospital for hours. Her uncle stepped aside to talk to us before he left for the vigil for his 3 young boys and wife who were killed in a fiery crash in Spring on Sunday.
Why? If you that angry, if you did it to a 6-year-old, you'll do it to the next, and the next, and the next one. You'll keep doing it until you can. Honestly, my family, when we want justice, that's not right for you to just take out an innocent child over for what reason?
Laurionne's father and mother have not been able to see their daughter yet. The hospital released a statement that reads in part, while HCA Houston Healthcare Southeast sympathized with family members not able to enter the facility at this time, the hospital has received a request from the Pasadena Police Department to limit access to the emergency center of the hospital as the police investigate a possible crime. Family says Laurionne has since been released to the medical examiner's office. Police have not released the name of the suspect, but the family tells me the suspect is related to the renter of the apartment.
She didn't get to enjoy life, get to enjoy school, get to enjoy herself, get to know herself.
I agree with her. It's the middle of the day, and I'm sorry that I'm drawing attention to such minuscule things. But why do human beings continue to do interviews in the middle of the day in stuff they will wear to bed? I think it's just, maybe just don't do the interview. How about that? You got a freaking do-rag bonnet on your head and just, you're not dressed to be productive or nothing. I'm sorry, but damn. I hate seeing that.
Not able to do anything anymore because she's not here. She's a princess. God, you have your princess, Jesus.
For the mothers and fathers out there, and if y'all have kids, just hug your kids and tight every night. It's a crazy world. Just be there for your kids every second. Don't even let them out your eyesight because anything can happen.
Let's skip this one. This is just the overhead helicopter view. We're gonna skip that one. Let's go to the next video.
Tonight, 2 tragedies involving children, incidents that happen days apart and many miles apart. But now we are learning a deadly crash and deadly shooting have a heartbreaking connection.
We do have team coverage on this tonight, starting with our Roseanne Aragon, who's live in Pasadena, where a 6-year-old little girl was shot and killed today. Roseanne?
It is no doubt a very devastating situation for the entire family. Pasadena police say it happened just behind me here in the 3600 block of Shaver Street. Neighbors tell me just minutes before the shooting, the family member who shot the girl knocked on their door. A heartbroken family.
I done lost words right now. I'm still choked up right now.
Friday morning, a shooting left her 6-year-old granddaughter, Laurionne Walker, dead.
My granddaughter with your baby, they got shot twice in the chest this morning.
Pasadena police say...
And she's out there in the Tupac Thug Life bandana.
Daughter Laurionne Walker, dead.
My granddaughter with your baby, they got shot twice in the chest this morning.
Pasadena police say it was a male... Daughter Laurionne Walker, dead.
My granddaughter with...
Is that the grandmother?
Your baby, they got shot twice.
That's the OG. That's grandma. Grandma OG. Thug Life bandana on deck. All my memories. Drinking Hennessy's.
In the chest this morning.
Pasadena police say it was a male family member who shot the girl over spilled water. Downstairs neighbor Mauricio Alvarez says they saw that family member often, and minutes before the shooting, he actually knocked on their door.
He knocked on the door. He was like, "Oh, can you check if you don't have waters coming down because the little girl has clogged the toilet."
He left. 10 minutes later, neighbors heard
like a group upstairs that were yelling.
He was banging on the doors, and one of the women had a knife. And they were telling him, "Get out of here, get out of here."
But then Alvarez says the family member came back.
He went running upstairs, and we heard like 4 or 5 shots, like bam, bam, bam. And he started running, and we started hearing like screams.
Bullet casings fell.
We just started calling the cops so we can help them out.
The 6-year-old was rushed to Bayshore Hospital. Her mother heartbroken. Her brother, who lost his children in an unrelated crash Sunday, sending comfort.
All I can say to my sister, I'm here for her. I'm a supporter. And I can imagine her pain because we both going through the same pain.
And it just so happens that the man you just heard from, the uncle of the 6-year-old girl, happens to be the father of the children that died in a fiery crash on Sunday in Spring. This family is asking for prayers. Reporting live from Pasadena, Roseanne Aragon, KPRC 2 News.
Tonight, an arrest in the shooting death of a 6-year-old girl in Pasadena. Ramion Means is now charged with capital murder. They say Means shot the little girl over an argument over spilled water. It happened yesterday afternoon at an apartment complex on Shaver Street near Allen, Genoa. Police say Means is related to the child. He's being held in jail without bond.
Let's go ahead and talk about this real quick. One more portion of this particular story is, of course, nobody has life insurance. Because why have life insurance when you can just open up a GoFundMe and the benevolent white people of GoFundMe will open their hearts and just donate money blindly into a GoFundMe for funerals that generally get paid for without GoFundMe money? Yes. And a lot of crimes in a lot of cities, a lot of states, children who are murdered, their burials are already taken care of. But I digress. We all should have life insurance regardless. People continue, and I don't know if y'all believe this or not, but people continue to email me reasons why some people can't get life insurance. I'm not worried about some, I'm worried about the majority. The majority of us should make an effort to get life insurance because just as sure as we will live, we all will pass away, and none of us, like society, shouldn't have to bear the burden of people doing something as natural as passing away. We don't know the day, we don't know the time. There is no period of time on any of our lives. Okay? Now, these tragedies expedite that process like this, but nonetheless, this little girl's GoFundMe was funded, and they're going to be able to take care of whatever they need to take care of and some, because the story was sad enough. There's a reason that I'm saying that. The story was sad enough. People had their heartstrings plucked on, and people wanted to fund this one. But what about the other children who pass away and their stories get swept under the rug? We don't hear about those stories. They open up a GoFundMe and they don't get anything at all. They might get $10, $20, $30 just from a couple people who've seen it on Facebook. Then they can't bury their kids. Then you have places like Detroit and Chicago who are freaking putting dead bodies in ceilings and things like that, trying to store them until these people get their money together so they can actually have a proper burial. Do y'all understand where I'm coming from? We need to take care of our own. They're not going to have to worry about this with this particular story. The GoFundMe asked for $10,000. They've collected $15,000 and counting. Just throwing it out there. I'm going to continue to use those GoFundMe pages as reasons that we need to have life insurance. Go to GerberLife.com. Miss June Bennett has posted a link in there. I'm gracious that she continues to do that. And maybe Gerber will reach out to us at some point and become a sponsor of the show, because we encourage people to go and use their platform. There are many ways that you can actually go get life insurance. You don't have to be a specific age. You can get them on newborn babies. You can get them on girls her age. You can get them as teenagers. You can get them as young adults, middle-aged adults, older adults. Everybody should have life insurance. No matter where you get it from, whether it's AAA or Gerber, whatever it is, just make sure you get it. Second thing that I'm going to say, I have no idea why this little girl had to be dropped off for them to go to a vigil. Usually, when you see a vigil on TV or YouTube or Facebook, wherever they're streaming it at, you usually will see children around. All I'm saying is if we put children first, I don't think there was any reason to drop this child off. If there was a good reason for it, I'd love to hear it. Secondly, whomever this child was dropped off with, which I'm going to assume wasn't, let me get back to his picture. Where is he at? Where is he at? I'm assuming that they didn't drop the child off with death face right here. They should have put some more lights in front of his face or something. My goodness. But whoever that dropped that child off with that woman, then I believe that that woman should also be investigated for her role in not protecting that baby. For whatever reason, why he was there, we don't know, but we definitely hope that he gets life in prison. I think this is going to be an open and shut case, and we can get justice for this little girl. But let me put some respect on her name. Again, that little girl's name is Laurionne Walker. I believe she was 6 years old. Let me make sure. That baby was 6 years old, and this family has really been through a lot. But like I said, I want y'all to also think about this. We could always say that there's this bigger scheme of things that are plotting against us, right, as the black community. But if you look at these situations and a lot of these stories that I tell, I just get a lot of these same exact type of stories. People make it seem like I'm choosing these stories. Not necessarily. I get them as I get them, and I talk about them as they happen. I hope that I would never have any of these stories to talk about. Why people would get mad about what I choose to do a topic on, as opposed to getting more upset about who's actually committing these crimes. It's misplaced anger to get mad at me for just giving my thoughts about what that fool who's smiling in his mugshot did to that little girl. That's inexplainable how a toilet can be flooded and somebody needs to die over that. I hope that little girl rests in peace, because she definitely deserves it, man. But to Laurionne, young princess, R.I.P. I'm DJ Just Jay, and I do hope y'all listen with an open mind and an open heart, okay? Thank you.